Hi guys, I'm your host Abby McCracken and this is The Table Unfiltered. So I have to share a little bit. I think that's what I'm gonna do today. I've been definitely praying about what to share. And I think I'm just gonna share kind of my heart with you guys, which I don't really want to do, but that's, I guess, the process that the Lord's taking me on. And I'll share a few different things with this, because there's I would say like 7 different streams that are going into the same river. And so basically I haven't been on for a while. I'd say like 2 weeks I haven't recorded a video, and I've been at this place with the Lord where I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. And in my own personality, when I don't want to do anything anymore, I just kind of let it die like a flower. I just stop watering it. I stop giving it attention and I just move on. And so I've really been in this place with the Lord, and what's crazy is I can hear the Lord very clearly, but when it comes to certain things, it's like I think I refuse to hear him, to be completely honest, because when I do hear him, I'm accountable for the knowledge that I do know. And so I don't know if he has been talking or if I just haven't been listening, which it's probably the latter part. That's probably I haven't been listening. And I was like, Lord, if you want me to keep doing this, you need to give me a sign. You need to give me something. And so basically, on Sunday night, I had the privilege to go up to a church in Monroe, Washington, and to do the prophetic ministry at a worship night / prophetic night. And so that was extraordinary. God came. It was fantastic. But at the end of the night, this stranger to me, I didn't know who they were. I didn't even prophesy over them. Came up to me and basically shared how they've seen my ministry and they've shared my YouTube. And I'm like, I don't know who you are. Why would you share my YouTube? And it was like this reminder of 2 different things. And so I'm going to share the first and then I'll share the second. But the first thing was, as he's saying this, I'm like, well, I'm just a small town girl from Longview, Washington. Why would anybody want to share my YouTube? I don't have that many followers. I don't have that many likes. I don't have, and internally processing all of this, and it's the whys and the why I should be disqualified from it, which is honestly orphan behavior, and I know that, and I'm sharing with you guys what I'm internally going through and externally going through, and I know the right answers, and I would say we all have a degree of knowing the right answers, but sometimes we have to work out the process. And so I'll share with you guys some of the things that my spiritual dads have said to me, and it all is lined up with this common theme. And so as he's saying this, the other side of me is like, oh my gosh, somebody's watching my stuff and sharing that, what the heck. And so a few years ago, actually it wasn't even a few years ago, it was a year ago, I met one of my heroes, somebody that I've watched their videos, I've watched their ministry for years, and since I was a little girl, and they've shaped my ministry. I'm not gonna say their name for the sake of honoring, but I had the opportunity to be at a place where I was ministering, and this person was there as the headliner, and he speaks, and then he has our my ministry team, my dad was also speaking there, go and minister, and then he left, and I ran out because I've gotten words from people who are friends of his that I carry an anointing very similar to his, and that if ever I see him, I should ask for impartation. And so I run up to him and I share with him who gave me the words, and I was like, I would just love an impartation prayer. And it was very gentle, it wasn't I need this, and honestly, I wasn't trying to be, I understand in ministry that there's times where people come up and it's they're in the middle of trying to go get on a plane, and they have to go, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful in any way, but also I've been told by like straight up prophets that if he's ever in the room, like to go. And so I go up, and he honestly, like he did kind of pray for me for impartation, but he like literally scoffed at the fact that I asked, and he like made kind of this big deal about it. And it was like the most deflating moment. I was like, oh my gosh, like he was such like a man of faith to me, such like I had high regards for him. And I was so disappointed with how they responded and reacted. And I made like a vow with myself that I would never do that one day. It doesn't matter how quote unquote famous I get, I will never do that. That there is no one on the face of the planet that is not good enough for a piece of my time. Like whether I have a plane or not, like there is no one on the earth, whether they are the most rich person in the world, of the most high regard to the lowest person, there's no one on the earth that something else is more important than ministering to the person in front of me. And so, because like honestly, that's what Jesus would do. And so as I'm having this internal battle within me, this person in front of me sharing this, I'm like, oh my gosh. And I was so flabbergasted by the fact that he had shared all of this that honestly I felt like I dismissed him. And so walking away, I was like, oh my gosh, should I do the same thing that this leader did? I should have asked to like pray for him or something. And I didn't. And I think he knew that I was shocked. So hopefully he didn't take any offense by it. But that's something that I've definitely wrestled with. And then like driving home, I was kind of thinking about like, oh my gosh, like if I'm ever put in a position like this again, like I don't know if I want to. Like that's a lot of pressure that I feel like I have, which it's not pressure at all. Like the Lord's burden is light and easy, but at times I can overthink the call and make it into this external thing that it's really not. It's actually very simple. But I started thinking like, oh my gosh, like if I go speak at all these places, like, because a lot of people have given me words that like YouTube or podcast is going to be the avenue to like explode my ministry, and I don't know if I actually want that, to be really honest. I think I really like the quiet, simple life of just sitting with Jesus and sitting with friends. And so these are all things that I've wrestled with, and so I want to share that with you guys because I want you guys to understand that like this isn't something that I necessarily want to do, but like I'm trying to be obedient to what the Lord's asking me, which is very against my flesh. Like, and I know the flesh has to die. I know all of that. Like I really do know all of that. But I would say nobody wants to be pruned. Nobody wants to be tested, put in the fire until you're in the position. And then afterwards you're like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. And then you get into the fire again and you're like, oh, I hate this. And so I think that's kind of where I've been, is like, I have in a degree a public ministry, but I have a private life that I would rather just stay in the private life and just do moments out of, like, going to Monroe was for a friend. I would do that any day. But I don't, and going on trips to minister to people, I do that, and I love that every once in a while in the year. But I think like a life that it's like weekly check in and check out of giving people my life is really scary to me. And one of my spiritual dads, actually both of them honestly, and I feel like I'm personally in this season where I've been really disappointed by spiritual parents, and I came out of that, and so now I have spiritual parents that are really good for me, but it's really hard for me to be vulnerable. And so they brought up the fact that like I hate to be vulnerable, and so right now this is honestly like me sharing this is actually probably has nothing to do with anybody listening, but it has everything to do with me humbling myself and doing that because it's not comfortable for me. And so I will give people a degree of my heart, and then I walk away and shut the door and never return back. Or with friends, like I give them a degree. My family, I give them a degree. But if they get too close, then it's like I put up these walls and I separate for a little bit and then I come back. And it's because I have this deep fear within me that if I reveal myself to people in the whole honesty of my heart, then that's like ammunition for people to betray me. And I'm not saying that's right, but like, and I know that in my head, but like I still operate in my heart a certain way. And I've walked with people for the same thing, but yet internally I've struggled with that same thing. And so it's like, I know all the right things to say, I know all the right things to do, but there's still a disconnect when it comes to living it out. And so one of my spiritual dads said that I needed to come into a season of humiliation and humbling myself before people. And so I'm like, that, like when he told me that, I was like, yeah, that doesn't sound fun. I don't know if I'm actually going to do that. But I've sat with it with the Lord, and I've been reading Psalms 139 over and over again. Like, search me and know my heart. And that's really it. It comes back to that with me and the Lord of like, Lord, I know that you are so much better than anything I could ever have asked. Like, I'm so thankful that the Lord took me out of the pit and put me into the palace, and that I am a daughter. And I'm so grateful for all of that. And I know that he's so good to me, and that his ways are so much better than my ways. But yet there's still a disconnect always with me and trusting the Lord, even though I've seen the Lord come through every single time in ways that are so extraordinary that I could never have made them up. But yet still personally, like, it's like I disconnect. There's literally, like, I know this is so like whatever, but I didn't even know this was in my office, but it says trust the Lord, and I have never seen that sign, quite literally, because I think it's actually quite ugly. But I'm literally looking at it right now, and it's like, just a reminder, like, trust the Lord. But I think that's kind of, the whole thing is, I'm in a process of purification. I'm in a process of learning aspects of the Lord's nature and character, where other people might be really, really good at. And I'm really good at other parts of God's character. But I'm still learning. And I feel like I've been in this year of 2026 in the most humbling year of my life. And I'm going to share a story about this, because I've really had to sit with the Lord with it, because I feel like he does keep putting me in positions. Before my spiritual dad has even said this, of humbling and humiliation. I feel like the Lord's put me in these places to take the higher road than to take the easy road, because I take a lot of the easy roads a lot of times. I actually told somebody the other day, like, sharing this with them, and they were walking through something very similar, and they're like, well, you took the same position as Jesus. And I was like, yeah, that's really nice for you to say, but like, honestly, most days I want to take the position of Satan, because it's way easier. And I don't mean that like in this like crass type of way. It's just like the way of Satan's so much easier. Long term it's probably not good, but I think it's way easier, instead of turning the other cheek, to like deck somebody in the face. And so I'm learning to turn the other cheek, and it's really hard for me, like really, really hard for me. So after coming back from South Africa, the word that one of my spiritual dads gave me was that I needed to become more disciplined, and I didn't know how to be a daughter. And I would agree with both of those things. They were 100% true. And I know I've shared that on another video or two, I don't remember. But basically I got up on the Sunday that I returned. I was preaching and sharing about my trip, and I quite literally gutted myself in front of the whole church. And I don't like doing that. I don't think anybody does. I don't like crying in front of people, so like that's very hard for me. But I really felt like the Lord was like, you need to gut yourself in front of people. And then like got a word that tied into it. And so I gut myself, I'm crying, I'm like really just like repenting in front of a mass amount of people for really no reason besides my own personal devotion with Jesus. Because honestly, I think some people in the room had no idea what was happening or really cared what happened. And then after, somebody came up to me, and instead of saying like, a few people had come up and they were like, that really convicted me. That's awesome. I'm glad that did. I'm glad that my experience could help you walk into a greater degree of walking with Jesus. But this person came up to me And it's funny now, but in the moment, I was not very happy. But they were like, the Lord told me that, like, exactly what you said, like, that you are undisciplined, that you do need to be corrected, that this, that, and the other thing, and just going down the list. And for a fact, I do know that's not Jesus's nature and character. Like, Jesus is not the accuser of the brethren. Jesus convicts us, and as people of God, we're there to help. We're just there to love them, and I'm not saying that we can't, like, call them higher. I think leaders definitely are called higher. In relationship, you're called higher. I don't have a relationship with this person. And honestly, like, anytime this person has ever come up to me, it's about how I should have been better. And so everything in me is like, I could fillet you right now. Like, I could just go down the list, which a long time ago, like when I was in high school, I wanted to be a lawyer, and because I'm good at arguing with people, and I can see it as plain as day. I love justice. So in that moment, I feel like I've received something that I don't want to receive, and I need to justify myself. And so in my brain, I'm like, and every single thing that I could point the finger back at this person, like, I wanted to do. And like a month before this, a prophet came into my church and literally pulled me up and was like, Abby, you're 24 years old and you still have freedom to make mistakes. Yeah, people may look at you differently, but you're still 24 years old. You have an anointing that is really big, but you're still a kid. And that's the reality. I'm still a kid. Like, yeah, I know I'm 24 years old, but like in the level of like ministry and whatnot, like, I'm still a kid. And it's never been like people older than me that have an issue. It's actually people like more my age that have an issue, or people who've never really been promoted before. And so that pops in my head, and I'm like, I have freedom. Like, I'm young. I can still make mistakes. You're making the same mistakes. You just don't have a platform like I do. And I wanted to just quite literally deck this person in the face and just obliterate them with my words. And I heard the Lord just say, as simple as they said, just take it. Just take the shot. And so I turn, and this is so not my nature. Like, I have to share that. Like, that's not my nature. My nature is to defend myself. And so I look at this person in the eyes and I go, you're right. What a joy it is to just be a daughter now. And then I just walked away. And of course I went to my car and cried after that, because I was like, God, that sucks. But yeah, that was a part of the humiliation process, is to get yourself in front of people and to turn the other cheek and to walk with Jesus. Like, I don't need my validation from people. I need my validation from the Lord. I need to be obedient to what He says, not what the world says. And I say this all the time to our ministry school students, but maybe I should start living it out. Delayed obedience is still disobedience. And I think through this process of like walking through a year of purification, which was much needed, which I would love to get into all of it maybe when I'm not, I feel like I'm spiraling right now, but I'm not, but like maybe when I'm not quote unquote spiraling, or getting myself in front of people, but I would love to like really dive into like what, not like accusatory, because I don't think that's the kingdom, but like kind of like my process of this year, because this year has been a year like no other, and I bet everybody could say that, but I think for where I'm at with ministry, me personally, it's like I've had every area of my life, like my personality, my home life, my friend life, my ministry life, and like there's not a continuity in all of them, and it's like the Lord's like, no, I just want you to be an oak tree. Like, I want you to be planted really deep instead of just like multiple streams that eventually get to the river. Because it's like, this stream is going really slow, this one's going really fast, and in the process of that, the streams can be really muddy. And so, and I'm not saying I have hiddenness sin or anything like that, but I think it's all about like being disciplined and walking according to what scripture says. And so yeah, I think that's kind of it. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to share that with you guys so that you can hear like my heart of like why I haven't been posting. And I don't feel like I owe you guys an explanation or anything like that. I feel like I want to share that because I've already made myself in this way like accountable. I feel like accountable is too big of a word, but to be used for this. But basically, I've shared parts of my life, like, and I don't owe you anything, but I want to give you that. And so I'll probably honestly post another video tomorrow because I feel like that would be the right thing to do. That actually has something to do with the table, but I do think this actually does have something to do with the table, honestly, because like my spiritual dads, like it's like talking around a table, and they've had me wrestle with the hard things that people don't want to talk about. It's not like the conversations that a pastor gets up on a platform and preaches about your own issues. Like, it's not like they're pointing out, and if that does happen, that's not good. But I do think that there has to be a place where it's like, man, we can actually be vulnerable and like authentic and like talk about the real things, and not a bashing culture, not in a dishonoring way, but like in the most honoring way possible that gives glory to the Lord and sharpens us closer to the Father instead of away from the Father. I think a lot of church splits and offenses from friends and churches and all the different things, if they just had conversations like this, I think a lot of that stuff would be resolved and dissolved. So yeah, that's kind of it. I hope you guys have a blessed day. Maybe I'll post another video, maybe I won't, I don't know. But thank you guys for listening. Like, subscribe, whatever. It was good sharing with you guys today. Bye.